Keith, welcome to the show, man. Good to see you today.
Hey, thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Keith, you don't know this, but you and I go back quite a ways and through some pivotal points in my concert life, actually.
All right.
So, the first time I saw you, I had just started this in 2011. 2012, I covered Rock on the Range, and I saw you with Adelita's Way up in Columbus.
We go way back. Awesome.
2020 was it was in January 2020 with Breaking Benjamin opening for Corn,
Yep.
and that was the last concert that I covered prior to the shutdown of the
That's great.
pandemic. First, you got a new record out coming out May 3rd on Rise Records, Infinity Now.
Correct.
When I first heard the title, I don't know if you're a Seinfeld fan, but I was thinking Serenity Now,
Oh
Serenity
yeah.
Now.
I am a Seinfeld fan, but I kind of I kind of thought of that for a second, and I was like, you know what? I don't care. This is it's a different kind of thing. But yeah, I've
Sure.
heard a couple people they've been reminded of
Excellent.
that.
Very cool. I like it. What's the inspiration behind the title and some of the songs on the album?
Well, a lot of it goes back to a psychedelic uh, uh, episode that I had. Not episode per se, but an experience rather.
Good.
I took a psychedelic drug called ayahuasca, uh, which is um, which is known, I guess, as DMT,
Okay.
which is a kind of a hallucinogenic kind of thing. And I think lots of people kind of use it in the Amazon. They go down there for therapy sessions, and there's a shaman, and there's a whole kind of thing, and they call it medicine down there. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. Disclaimer, disclaimer. But it has been known to help some people, and I just heard good things. I'm not a big drug person or anything
Help
like that.
help in what way? With like anxiety issues or things of that
Yeah,
nature or
yeah, all of the above. I think it
okay.
helps people kind of deal with, past trauma
Gotcha.
or
All right.
things that are, maybe kind of repressed and underlying under the surface that they don't even know about, and it kind of helps them kind of bring it to the surface and kind of be able to
Wow.
address it in a kind of yeah, a
Little safer
hallucinogenic
manner.
kind of
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
I did this, and I got to tell you, it was a journey, and I saw all kinds of uh, amazing, incredible things and things that really inspired me and affected me. Here I am, almost 10 years later talking about it. And
Wow.
a lot of these songs and a lot of these kind of things that I wrote about on this album are directly related to kind of things that I saw and experienced. I mean, even, the song Infinity, you listen to some of the lyrics in that song, you're like, oh yeah, this guy definitely did some psychedelic drugs in his day, so yeah, I kind of just went with that. It wasn't something that I really set out to write about. But it was something that, I drew a lot of inspiration from, and I was like, all right, to hell with it. Let's really dive into this and really explore just some of these things. I mean, obviously, I'm inspired by just the human condition and our experience in this wild ride we call life.
Sure,
Life
sure.
itself can be very inspiring, and so yeah.
I was going to ask when you're writing a solo record, because this is your second now. Are these songs fresh to you, or are these ones that are, you've had them tucked away for a while, but I guess that for this particular record, it was about a specific, circumstance or a group of circumstances.
Yeah, there's a few things that are kind of more modern. I think, recent things, but also it all still ties into like kind of the older kind of stuff. But I mean, to answer your question, I mean, it all feels fresh to me. I think maybe I had a couple of the ideas in there a little bit, but a lot of them, we wrote them pretty recently. This past summer and this past year,
Mhm.
and I find as an artist, you're always kind of gravitate to your newest idea and your newest
Okay.
creation.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I think some of the songs, I think that I feel that like they're fresh to me, but maybe some of the concepts I'm talking about are a little bit older, but I just didn't even know that I was going to write about it. So it's
I
kind
mean,
of cool.
I've had some artists tell me that, they like to write about what's going on in their lives at that point, because then when they listen to the album later on, it's about, oh yeah, that's what was going on. And other ones just, have catalogs of stuff and they pull bits and pieces to create tunes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's interesting how everyone has a different take on it.
Yeah, and I mean, I definitely, I feel like I'm kind of, hearkening back to this experience, but to me, it's very much so in the present because, there's a universal connection. I know this is going to sound really out there, but the older I get, and every birthday that I have, you tend to just think about your own mortality more and more, and you think about just like, man, this is a wild ride, and I'm so grateful to be here. And it's so wild how it just kind of seems like it's getting faster and faster and faster, and you think about those things, and you think about, what does it all mean, all these experiences and things you've gone through. You can't help but look back a little bit at your life, and kind of take
Yeah.
stock of it from time to time. So I think that's kind of where I'm at.
What happened to me just, I guess, past couple of weeks ago. My mom found a bunch of home videos,
Oh, wow.
VHS tapes from like 19, I don't know, 92 or something or other.
Wow.
So I don't have a VHS recorder. I bought one on eBay and we all came over and watched all these videos. And yeah, to go back in time and to see us, and of course, it was, bittersweet because there was, relatives that have passed and all, but,
Sure.
to go back and relive those memories that, are like you had said, they're back there, but there's so much going on that sometimes you just don't, remember them and sit back and just enjoy them. We had 4 hours of just like, oh my God, Christmas and Easter and,
Oh,
birthdays and
that's great.
graduations. It was awesome, man.
That's so cool, man. That's
Yeah,
that's really neat that and so you got your fam together and you all kind of watched it
that's what
together.
we did, man. It was
Oh,
cool.
that's
Yeah.
that's great.
Uh-huh. It was cool. Great album. Who do you have performing with you for this record?
There's a lot of people, especially on the production side, mixing side. I had a really great team of people involved in the creation of this. Lots of incredible writers, and I think once I started this partnership with Rise, I really wanted to be able to utilize the label's resources and really put my best foot forward with the songwriting, and work with as many talented writers and different people as I could to really just see what we could come up with.
Sure.
Um, and but yeah, Kevin Thrasher, he produced it. Joel Wanasek mixed it. I have a couple people that lent their drumming skills. Sage Weber, Zach Baker. Yeah, and me and Kevin, we both played guitar. I did all the vocals. I played bass on it.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
and yeah, man, it's kind of a mix of a whole bunch of people. I basically I try to find the most talented people I can, and then I work with them, and it just makes me look better by proxy. So that's
Does
my
it, doing that, does it bring out things in you that, I mean, not necessarily that you didn't know were there, but it makes you almost a better player or a better singer or something, being around them kind of people.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. I mean, there's always something to learn. There's always something to take away, and that's just it, right? I never want to stop learning in this whole process of life and music and my career. I just want to just keep soaking things in like a sponge as much as I can. So I really want to try to keep working with just as many talented people as I can, just to try to get better myself.
I want to get into a couple of the tracks off the album, and I want to start with Headspace Holiday.
Yeah,
Great song. I mean, the bridge is pretty cool. Great, powerful riff, and
thank you.
the title and the lyrics is something that I think most people need nowadays. They need a little, break.
Yeah, yeah. Amen to that. I mean, it's a wild world out there, and it's getting wilder by the second. And not to sound old, because I'm sure my our fathers and our grandfathers probably said that about the world years ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I think it's always kind of been that way. But yeah, I wrote this song with Cody Quistad from Wage War, just an amazing guitar player, amazing vocalist, amazing writer,
Yeah, great band. Yeah,
and yeah, an amazing band.
yeah.
Yeah, and really just was stoked on this song, and we just really kind of we kind of started riffing away and thinking about concepts. And you think about mental health these days, it's a lot more in the forefront with just the way the world is.
100%, sure.
And rightly so. I think it's good that it is more talked about and more addressed, yeah, and in the forefront. I think it's a very good thing to be able to talk about that. And this song, like you said, it kind of deals with that. There's so much negativity coming at you from all angles, social media, the news, and sometimes you just need to just kind of unplug from the system and
Yeah.
and do whatever you need to do to have a little mental break.
Yep, absolutely. Just the pressures of life and, getting back to what you had said, I'm sure our parents and grandparents probably felt the same thing, with wars and stuff going on and
Sure.
depression and so forth. But, I have anxiety issues myself and I talk about it openly to my friends. And,
Yeah.
if I know of people who are dealing with it too, look, let's talk about it. Maybe I can help you out or from things I've experienced. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
and again, it's not a closet thing. It's not a secret thing. It's not a shameful thing anymore.
Yeah.
It's open. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think, I think really foremost, I think, people should know that, hey, you're not alone. You're not alone with some of these feelings. There's a certain amount of you know, companionship that we need to know that, like, hey, we can commiserate on some certain things, and so we're all kind of dealing with stuff, and a lot of people, don't even know what they're dealing with
And I was
sometimes.
going to say more people deal with stuff than you even know about, so
Yeah,
you're
for
definitely
sure.
not alone in things. The song Strings, I think that was the first single off the record, Strings, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a really, really solid song. What about that song made it good to be the first one to highlight off this album?
Yeah, I think bands always want to come out of the gate, with something that's got a little higher energy. You kind of want to come out of the gate and be like, boom, let's go. Here we go. Here we
Yeah.
are.
Yep.
And that song kind of had some up tempo. I've always liked that drum beat, just
Right,
kind
right.
of kind of in your face with it. So that was a factor. This song's kind of upbeat, and it's got some energy. It's got a little bit of adrenaline there, and I think just the message as a whole with the song is just kind of like, hey, don't acquiesce to every little agenda that's flying at you. It's like, hey, think for yourself. You don't have to be attached to any kind of thing. Have the freedom to think for yourself and roll with it.
I always try to listen to the first song and the last song off a record, and then I'll pick a couple here and there. And the last song off of this one is a song called "Dear Father." Very crisp acoustic song. I mean, I dabble in some guitar, and man, when you hear a nice, genuine acoustic, I mean, look, I listen to everything from Slayer to you guys and everything, but
Yeah,
man, that
yeah.
acoustic is just crazy. And of
Thank you.
course, it's got to be a personal song for you.
Very much so. I think during the writing process, um, I was thinking about that one a lot, and I was like, you don't want to bum people out. You don't want to. You're kind of thinking about, is this something I want to put on this album and put out there? But at the end of the day, I just kind of thought to myself, hey, this is me. This is part of my story. This is part of my life, and something that affects me to this day. And you think about loved ones that you've lost. You're talking about watching the home videos. It's a bittersweet kind of thing, and you think about those relatives and family members that you loved and lost that aren't with us anymore, and you want to believe that they're still kind of around, and it's still keeping tabs on you and aware of what you're doing in your life. And so
Sure.
that's really what that song was. I lost my father in 1999, so it's been a long time, and I feel like I've done a lot of things since then, and you want to believe, like, that he's still keeping tabs, watching, and he's proud of me. And so, yeah.
But the way you structure the song lyrically, I played it for my mother, and we listened to it after we were watching the videos. And there's the one line that says, "I'm so damn sick of talking to heaven," and she got a tear in her eye, and
Oh, wow.
but just I could, you know, the lyrics what you're going through. It's relatable to things that I've gone through and others with that have lost loved ones. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's a just a beautiful song, and I want to thank you for putting that on the record. It's
Oh,
touching
thank you.
emotions there, man.
Thank you very much. I don't know how I'm gonna do that one live.
Yeah.
I've played it once
Turn the
live, and I
lights
was like,
down a little bit.
yeah, that's gonna be tough.
Let's switch speeds with the song Blackout. Great
Yeah.
tune, tons of energy, man. I mean, when I know that there's solo dates and of course dates of Breaking Benjamin announced on your website, keithwallen.com.
Mhm.
How many songs off this album, are going to be on your solo set?
Gosh, we played a few shows already. There's a bunch. Gosh, I want to say 6 or 7 at
Nice,
least.
cool, dude.
So it's a good
Yeah.
chunk of the new stuff, and some of the fan favorites from some of my older stuff. But yeah, new album coming out, trying to get it out there.
Hmm. You're coming to us locally here next week, up in Bethlehem, with Breaking Benjamin,
Yep.
and Daughtry, I believe, is on
Yep.
that date. So, it's early in the year, but the touring, wagon's starting already. We got tons of tickets bought already. And again, I just
Awesome.
last week was announced the Daughtry Breaking Benjamin Stain tour. So it's going to be another cool one. For some of the dates that you're playing with Brigham Benjamin, you're also opening with your band. Have you ever done something like that before, playing dual sets in the evening?
Yes, I have. I've done it a few times. I've done it once with the full band, electric, in Tampa last year, but I've done a few acoustic tours where I've been the opener, opening for myself, as Ben likes to say.
What?
Uh,
Really cool. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's fun. It's exhausting, but it's a funny kind of thing. I asked the crowd this on this last tour we just did in January. We did one of these where I was opening on the tour, and I would ask the crowd every night. I'm like, who all has heard of me? And there'd be a few people you're like, all right, yeah. Who's never heard of me in your life? And there'd some nights there'd be this big loud roar, and I'm just like, all right, for everybody that's never heard of me, I've been playing guitar in Breaking Benjamin, who you guys paid the ticket to see tonight, for the
Right.
last 10 years.
Oh,
So
that guy. Yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
know you.
yeah. So it was a funny experiment, but
That's
it
awesome.
totally kind of opened my eyes a little bit. A lot of people that just don't know that I exist outside of Breaking Band or in Breaking Band. I don't expect everybody to just know who all the band members are and all that. So it,
100%.
it kind of opened my eyes a little bit to that. I really got to get out there and talk about myself and let people know I exist. So I can't thank you enough for having me on this amazing platform to do that.
Absolutely. Thank you, man, for coming. You're a younger man than I am, and when you were learning to play guitar, who were some of your guitar inspirations to pull and to get inspiration from?
Well, I think Metallica, that was a big one for me. Obviously, James Hetfield, probably the best, right hand in rock and roll
Right.
history. I mean,
Yep.
such an amazing player, a songwriter, singer. Um, Gosh, there's so many. I mean, I'm not a big. I've never been a big, like, shredder or anything. I've always been
Okay.
like the chord guy, songwriter, singer type player. But I absolutely am in awe and complete marvel over some of the players. Even Eddie Van Halen, obviously. I mean, the goat. Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Sure.
I follow this Instagram page, and I'm not sure what the handle is, but but they always play these vintage concerts of Stevie Ray Vaughan, and it always just stops me in my tracks every time. I'm always just like watching it, and I'm just like, it's just unbelievable
So
the
now
talent.
you must have seen the one where his guitar string broke.
Oh yeah, and the
I
guy
mean, come
changes
on,
the string
in the
while he's
middle.
playing.
How do
It's
you do
crazy.
that?
It's yeah. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
legend stuff, you know. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
uh,
And
you know,
watching him play, it's just like so like yeah, I mean again, I'm not a guitarist, but I have a couple, I play on the weekends, I do what I can, but the fluidity and it just like it's just a part of them. It almost makes you want to stop playing guitar. And I'm sure that anybody who's a guitar player would never want to hear that, but it's like, man, really?
yeah, yeah. No, I know what you mean. I definitely know what you mean. It is, you know, you watch something like that and you're like, that is just God, you know,
Yep,
speaking through this guy's fingers, you know. It's pretty cool.
it's unreal. New music for Breaking Benjamin coming, being thought about, writing.
Well, it's definitely being asked about.
Okay, sure, sure, sure.
That's for sure.
Yeah,
It's been thought about, asked about, and talked about. And yeah, we're always working on new stuff. We're always writing. We're recording whenever we can. You know, obviously we'd love to get out there and tour, but when we're on tour, we're still writing and recording out there as well. So I think when it's been such a long time since we've released new music, you know, we really want to take we don't want to rush anything, you know, just because it's been a long time doesn't necessarily mean we want to rush things here at the finish line.
yeah, makes
We want
sense.
to
Yeah.
make sure we want to make sure that you know, it's getting the due diligence.
Keith, May 3rd is a date. Infinity Now is the album, Rise Record, and keithwallen.com is where you can get it. It's been a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for being part of my concert life. And I will see you definitely on the Stain tour, man.
I can't wait, man. It's been an honor. Thank you again. Thank you so much for having me, and looking forward to hanging again.
Keith, thank you so much, and I'll see you on the road.
All right, man. Take
All right.
care.
Good night. Thank you.